Welcome into KSU Nation, the best K-State and Big 12 podcast out there. I'm Stevie B.
And I am Kenny G.
And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about Jake Retzlaff committing to a new school, not in the Big 12, and also talk about some conference realignment. Kenny, how are you doing today, man? I didn't get to see you today. Yesterday, you kicked my butt in pickleball. Really quickly, what did you do today? Because I did a lot.
Actually, I did a lot of nothing. I did go to work this morning.
Good for you.
From 12 a.m. That's right, 12 a.m. to 9 a.m. Then I went home and took a nice long nap and woke up and had Raisin Canes. We're not sponsored by Raisin Canes, but we would like to be.
We had Wingstop tonight. Very similar. Chicken, I guess. That's amazing.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's anything similar, but go ahead, Steve. What do we got on the docket today?
So like I said, we're going to talk about Jake Retzlaff going to a new school. In fact, we'll start right there. Kenny, one of the bigger news coming out of the Big 12 is Jake Retzlaff, former quarterback at BYU, committing to play at Tulane. Now, there's been a lot of rumors said that he was going to go to another Big 12 school, but he ends up going to Tulane, which is in the AAC, or as they've been newly recalled, the American Conference. And what's really interesting about this, Kenny, is that he is walking on, meaning they did not give him a scholarship, though I would not be surprised if they give him NIL money to cover his scholarship. I think you were saying that you would not be surprised if he ends up at a school like Tulane or Memphis or another American Conference. You weren't buying the sauce that he was going to be Power 4, right?
No, I mean, as a matter of fact, right before we got on this show, Steve, I happened to see a little post on, I think it was like a Big 12 sports forum that I follow on Facebook, and we actually are we're the conference that is returning the most amount of quarterbacks from the previous year. Wow. We're bringing back 9 quarterbacks. I believe it was 9. Maybe it was more than that, actually. But yeah, it's hard to be in a to find a home in a conference, like the Big 12, who is bringing back all these quarterbacks. I'm sure if it was any other year, maybe he might have landed a Big 12 slot. But yeah. Also, I think with the drama behind his whole situation, I don't know if a lot of Big 12 schools wanted to mess with that. So, but Tulane is definitely more than happy to pick up a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
And, good on him for landing a home. I mean, I know we had said in a previous video that we just wanted to see him at least land somewhere. He's a really good player. He's a fun player to watch. He's kind of like that, he just goes for it kind of player. He's not conservative at all.
No, he's not.
And he sort of creates the chaos, and that's what we love about college football. We love watching the chaos, and he's definitely the kind of player that can create a lot of that chaos. And so it's going to be fun to see where he would land. And dude, Tulane, that's a cool place for him to land. I mean, they've historically over the last 5 years have been a really fun team to watch. And, him landing there is just really cool in my eyes.
Yeah. I mean, they went to the Cotton Bowl just a couple of years ago. That was the same season. They beat K-State, right? At K-State. And then last year, of course, K-State went back down to Tulane, won that game on a controversial call. It was an offensive PI, but that's neither here nor there. He's a good quarterback, man. He threw for 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns. They were a pass-first offense. Now, their offense wasn't great last year. BYU's offense wasn't amazing. They won a lot of games. They won 11-2 because of their defense mostly, but I still feel like he's a pretty good quarterback. And Kenny, if you're comparing him to the rest of the guys that are on the roster for Tulane, they got a guy coming from Ball State. They got a guy coming from the University of Iowa. They got a guy coming from Illinois. They got a couple of high school guys. And then they got a guy coming in from Middle Tennessee State. So even though he's coming in as a walk-on, I would not be surprised whatsoever if he ends up winning the quarterback competition. Because, I mean, if you're Tulane, I mean, you got nothing to lose, right? He's walking on. He's not guaranteed a spot, which I feel like that's what hurt him at this point, is that a lot of schools, I mean, we're a month before people are playing football games. Like, I think K-State actually was putting out posts today that fall camp was starting today. I saw a post, Avery Johnson coming into K-State with all his baggage coming in because they have a game in 1 month, right? So a lot of colleges have already started their fall camps and, I don't think he hit the portal. In fact, I think he was supposed to unenroll and then re-enroll in a new place. I don't know why he did it like that, but I think in case he wanted to go to the portal later, who knows? But I think this is a good place for him. New Orleans is a pretty fun spot to be in. Definitely vastly different than Provo, Utah. That is for sure. I think this is a good landing spot for him. I really do.
Dude, I think we're going to at least see some playing time. I mean, you were just saying you don't know if he's going to get the quarterback position, but I will argue that he'll at least see some playing time.
Oh, absolutely. He's going to get some PT.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in practice, whether he picks up this offense really quickly or not. But I would be hard pressed to say that you're just going to have a guy have a weapon like Jake on your sidelines and not use him. In certain, I mean, even if they're like blowing a team out, it's just like, okay, we'll throw him in. Let's see what he's got. Like even in those situations, but I definitely agree with you. He's going to be competing for that starting position. And I don't know. I have faith, man. I think he's going to be, I think he'll start,
Absolutely. And, their quarterback last year, Darian Mensah, we saw him play. He could throw the deep ball. Jake Retzlaff can too. They had very similar numbers. I mean, Jake had almost 3,000 yards passing, 20 touchdowns, like I said. Darian Mensah last year, 2,700 yards passing, 22 touchdowns. Now he's at Duke, so there was an open spot there. But they had 7 quarterbacks before Jake Retzlaff committed. But I think John Summerall over at Tulane knows what he's doing. I think he knew what he was getting in Jake Retzlaff. Yeah. I mean, this is a no-brainer. There's zero risk taking him in as a walk-on. I think this is a great move for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And just want to reiterate one more time. I mean, I know there's some BYU fans out there. There's a lot of BYU fans that are kind of just split. Some are like, good riddance, and then some are like, man, this really sucks.
Right.
But I think we can just say, just for the sake of like a young man's future and a young man's like, passion and love for the game, it's good to see him land on his feet somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to the biggest news out of the Big 12. Kenny, Memphis wants to join the Big 12 so bad they offered somewhere between $200 to $250 million, depending on which report you read into. And they are saying that they would not take any TV money for 5 years. If it's $200 million, that's $12 million per school. At $250, we're looking at $15 million per school. We already saw SMU do something very similar to this by joining the ACC. They're not taking any TV money for 7 years. But the Big 12 said, no, sir, we want no part of you in your terrible stadium. Because if people don't know, that's where they have the Liberty Bowl. That bowl in that stadium is awful. But Kenny, your thoughts on the Big 12 saying no to Memphis and $200+ million? Woo! Oh my gosh. That's a lot of money, but I also see why they didn't do it. And I'll talk about my
where in the world is this school getting this kind of money? First of all, I mean, they must have an insane donor, but look, Memphis, we're flattered. Okay. We're flattered. Thank you, but no, thank you.
Right.
It's just, we're trying to make, like, if we were to add you, it's like adding a Vanderbilt, into the SEC. We don't want to make this conference any worse than what ESPN and all the sports pundits keep making us out to be. Like, we want to elevate our conference. And, these last couple conference editions, like Arizona State, Arizona. I mean, Arizona hasn't proven themselves but yet so far, but give it some time. Utah, BYU, UCF, Cincinnati, like these schools have actually elevated, the Big 12. So, and Houston definitely did, especially with basketball. So I just don't see Memphis benefiting the Big 12 anywhere other than maybe basketball, but that's not enough. That is not enough. The money is in football first and then basketball. And I mean, I don't mind the location of Memphis. I think it makes a little bit more sense than like if we were to try to add like I don't know, like a school out of Maine or something like that. Like that would be bizarre. But because Memphis is sort of more like Central America-ish, I guess you could say. I mean, it's more center than UCF. But I think when you and I were playing pickleball yesterday, this news came about, and I was like, it would be a really cool school to add to the Big 12 would be Boise.
Yeah, you did say that. You did say that.
Boise would be really fun. It would be an eyesore every time you had to watch them play a home game, but it would be a very cool, because that's a really like storied school, and just imagine if we had Boise in our conference last year, we would have had 2 Heisman Trophy candidates in the Big 12, coming out of the Big 12. And not only that, but adding yet another elite running back.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, it's just like, to me, I think Boise makes a lot more sense than Memphis. What's another school? Wisconsin. I could see them.
From the Big 10?
Well, or is it Washington State?
Washington State and Oregon State is who I'm assuming you're talking about.
Yeah, Washington State, Oregon State. That's the ones I was thinking of. Honestly, I would take Nebraska back because they're not doing anything in the Big 10. And I want to just have a annual whooping on them, in the Big 12. They haven't done anything since they went to the Big 10. And it doesn't even make sense why they're there. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So I would have them come back, and then I don't know. As far as the Memphis thing, I know I've talked way too much. I just don't think it makes sense. They're not good enough to join the Big 12. I don't think they have anything going for themselves. I don't know where this $200 million comes from.
Got to be from boosters or something. Got to be.
I mean, I suppose so. I mean, listen. Hey, look, I don't blame them for shooting for the moon, Steve.
No, me neither.
Shoot for the stars. You might land on the moon. Isn't that the saying? Shoot for the stars. If you shoot for the moon, you will just land right back where you are. Shoot for the stars, and you might land on the moon. And I don't know, Big 12. Brett Yormark, man, he knows what he's doing. I love this guy. I think he's been such a great leader for this conference. So I think he's making the right decision here. No questions. No question about it. I just don't think that's a good school for us.
Okay, so here's my thoughts on it. I think that them saying no to Memphis is good for a couple of reasons. Now, $12 to $15 million per school sounds pretty awesome, but not having to pay them any money for 5 years sounds pretty awesome. But when you do have to pay them money, that's another team cutting into your piece of the pie. I don't imagine that they add any TV value, considering they've been in an American conference forever, right? And you talked about how the Big 12 added Houston and BYU and all these other schools. Well, Memphis has historically been just a basketball school, kind of like Houston has, right? Like Houston's had a couple of good football seasons here and there. But I mean, we're looking at 600,000 people in Memphis compared to 6 million people in Houston. That's a pretty big difference. Now, Orlando has less people, but that also gets you into Florida. That's why that move made sense for the Big 12. I think this is a great move. I think it also shows how big of a deal football is. I mean, I think they played in one major bowl game in their entire like career as a football program. They played in the Cotton Bowl back in 2019 and they lost, and that's it. That is it. I mean, they played in a bunch of other bowl games, but that is the biggest bowl game they've ever played in, and they lost. And so I just think football success is king. Eyeballs are king, and you just got to add value if you're adding a team to the conference. And you talked about adding back Nebraska or Missouri or some of these other schools. And I'm very happy that Big 12 added Colorado back because that's another regional rivalry. And I think it's great. I mean, K-State's playing Colorado to end the season. I think that's awesome. We got Chris Kleiman against Deion Sanders. I mean, that's a lot of fun. But I mean, I don't see anything nice about Memphis. I think the $12 to $15 million payday is great, but obviously it's not enough. And we saw the Big 12 say no to Gonzaga for basketball only. And you know, of course, the Big 12 has been rumored to go and pick up some other schools as well. And every single time they've fallen short. I think that a Big 12 admin has realized 16 is a good number. 16 is a good number. Unless we're adding a Big 10, ACC, or SEC team, I think it doesn't make sense. I just don't think it makes sense.
Yeah, if we were getting Florida State, that'd be big. That would be big.
Yes.
Or any Big 10. Yeah, like you said, if we were doing like a Big 10, Big 12 like team swap or something, then that would be fine.
I think he's waiting on to see if the ACC implodes. I think that's the next step. Does the ACC implode? Where does FSU go? Where does Clemson go? Virginia, North Carolina? Because there's going to be some other schools that are ready to get, poached. Duke,
I could see
NC State.
I could see.
I mean,
Memphis
a bunch of schools.
Syracuse. I could see Memphis trying to. They should have been trying to get into the ACC.
They should be worrying about winning their own conference before they're worried about getting into the Big 12. Let's just say that. They should be worried about winning their own conference before they're worried about getting into the Big 12.
Steve, are you trying to say that Tulane has a better chance of getting into the Big 12 than Memphis? Steve, are you trying to say that Troy has a better chance of getting into the Big 12?
No, I didn't say that. Tulane, yes. Memphis and Troy, no.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's
conference realignment's kind of fun to think about. As long as you're not one of those teams that's going to get left on the outside. I feel bad for Oregon State and Washington State, man. That sucks.
The $200 million, I mean, for every school to have that little bump in pay, like you said, it is this like short-term like satisfaction for this monetary gain. But I don't know. Like I think you might be right. In the long term, it may not it may not be worth it in the end. So
you couldn't hear that, could you? I was yelling at my kid.
We all heard that. Oh,
really?
Yeah.
I thought I turned off my mic. I guess not.
Nope. Ario, go get my dang charger out of my bag.
Sorry for everyone watching and listening. We do appreciate all our viewers. But yeah, that kudos to the Big 12 for saying no to Memphis. I think it's a good deal all around for anyone not named Memphis.
Yeah.
Well, that's our short show today, man. Just a quick, Big 12 news. Jake Retzlaff, Memphis. A lot of stuff coming out. We're going to continue to put out some more content here in the very near future. Kenny, anything else before we get out of here?
Not anything off the top of my head. Please, guys, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like, write a comment, do all those things that people do when they want to interact. Appreciate you guys for watching. And we will catch you on the next episode. Go Big 12 and go Cats. Damn,